Welcome back, everybody. My name is BluJay, and we are back at the Reverb Outpost, doing a little bit of resource gathering to get today's episode kicked off. We need some ink sacks because we need lots and lots and lots of concrete to do the project that we're gonna do today. If you missed the last episode, be sure to go back and watch that. Maybe pause this one and go back and watch that one first and then come back. Or if, you just want to see what we built in the last episode, we're gonna be continuing the project we worked on in the last video. We're working on the power beam, and actually we're not doing a ton of work, if any, to the power beam at all today. I think we're going to be focusing on the room itself, because we've had this habit so far in this series, if you're new to the channel, where we start a project, we get the really cool parts of it done first, and then we leave all of the, standard stuff like walls and ceilings and floors, stuff that make the build actually look good. We leave all that stuff unfinished and just the natural terrain, the stone, the diorite, the andesite, the granite, gravel, dirt, whatever is in there, we just kind of leave it alone and we don't do much with it. We'll take care of that guy. Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. But we're going to be working on the actual room today because we're going to break the trend that we've had in the past of starting a project and not finishing it until 10 episodes later. We're not going to do that anymore. So give me just a moment to finish this up, and then we'll get going on that project here in a second. We've got several different colors of concrete, black, red, and gray, and then we've got some red stained glass panes to get us going with today's project. And the first thing that we're going to be doing in this room, let's run back here. I want to start back here. I want to give you guys a little bit of an example of what we're going to be working on. And actually, let's light up this part of the room just for the moment. I know I said in the last episode that I wanted to keep this area dark because I love how it just makes the power beam itself pop when there's not a whole lot of lighting around it. And I think that's kind of the feel that I'm still going to go for, but I'm not sure. We're going to have to see when this room actually comes together. I've designed these walls in a testing world, and surprise, surprise, they're not anything necessarily different than what we've already done. They're following the standard Reverb Outpost pattern, and I'll show it to you right now. So we've got our standard gray concrete. I decided not to use black for the walls because I wanted it to be slightly different of a shade than the floor. I wanted it to stand out a little bit more. And then we've got the standard colored concrete line just like that. And that's basically it for the design of the walls. We're going to do that all the way around. And I'm going to carve most of this out and put in most of that concrete off camera because we've done this wall design plenty of times. And y'all don't need to see me do this again for 15 minutes while it takes me, 15 minutes to go around and do this. So I'll finish putting these walls in, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do in just a second. Okay, we are done with the walls, and they're looking pretty good, I like the color scheme. I like the red and gray. So let's grab our Silk Touch pick here, and then we're going to carve out this glass. Because we want to keep it. We don't want to just break glass, but I don't think we're going to use it again for this project necessarily. I'm not sure yet, but for the moment, we're going to line the borders with these quartz slabs, pretty similarly to what we did with the actual power beam structure itself. And something one of you guys pointed out to me in the last video, which I noticed myself when I was working on the thumbnail, but I didn't notice it while I was actually working on the build, is that it looks like the quartz slabs that are underneath are reflecting off of the glass. It doesn't actually look like there's another quartz slab down there. It looks like a reflection, which is super cool because that was totally an unintentional design element, but it turned out that way, and it's super cool. So I love that. Man, that looks so good. It just kind of makes that glass floor look come to life even more. So having things underneath the glass is pretty sweet. So then we're going to line the ceiling just like that, and we're going to do that around the entire room. So let me keep working on this like we did with the walls, and then I'll come back to you in just a moment. All right, check it out. all the quartz slabs are in place, and now we're pillaring up into the ceiling, and we are going to take this opportunity to punch out this area and raise the roof a little bit because we want to add a balcony up here. And this is actually one of those moments where I normally don't record this kind of stuff, like the digging out of the room. And unless it's in like a time lapse or a montage of clips or something like that, but I don't normally do commentary alongside this kind of work because it's kind of boring to watch. There's not a whole lot to it. But I wanted to use this as an opportunity to go ahead and get some feedback from the community because I oftentimes just have these plans in mind and know exactly what I want to do, and I've actually got a list. I have a notepad. Well, it's not a real notepad. It's in the Notes app on my phone of a ton of different projects that I want to do in this world. And, you know, this was one of those projects that I had planned out from the beginning of this series, the power beam using a beacon and just like this whole aesthetic thing. But something else about this room that I don't have planned out, and I want to get your feedback on, is the usage of the wall space and the balcony. I'm looking for ideas, and I want to, as often as I can, consider community feedback. Again, I've got plans for a lot of stuff, and 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go with what I already have in mind. But there are some times where I'm like, man, I would really love to have some community feedback on this and have some people throw in some ideas. And I'm sure you guys would love to see your ideas come to life on the screen as well. And, you know, be able to check those out at the world downloads and all of that kind of stuff. So here's what I want to know from you guys. What should I do with this room? The only plans that I have for the moment is the lever that we've already put in place to switch the beacon on and off, and I'm not sure that that's going to be its final resting place. I'm toying around with an idea of moving it to the other side of that wall and making that like a laboratory, and then having this like glassed off so that it's only accessible by like a special door or something. But I still haven't decided on that. I'm still thinking those plans through. Then the other thing that I have planned is to move the input chests from the auto smelter into the balcony of this room. Now, I know it's separated from the auto smelter, so like from a spacing standpoint, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put it there, but on a story standpoint, it makes total sense because this is like the power room, so we would put our fuel into the power room, and the power would flow to the auto smelter. So that's kind of my idea for that. But I'm looking for more ideas. What kind of practical stuff or visual stuff would you like to see in this room? Give me some feedback. Let me know in the comment section. I would love to read your ideas and maybe consider building some of those in this space. Oh, the magic of jump cuts. All of this work, all of this carving is done, except for what's in the middle there, and I'll explain that in a second, but we have also placed around a black concrete border, which actually it's not the border, it is on floor level. That's what we're going to be standing on here in a moment. But I wanted to show you first before we move on. Let's see, let's start right here. This is where the red stained glass panes come into play. This is what we are, and I need a piece there. There we go. This is what we are using for our railing around the room, and I just love the vibe that this gives off because it feels very much like a laboratory kind of feel, which is what we're going for because this is a high risk, high security, danger area that has a lot of electricity flowing through it, and we want people to be safe in here, so they're behind stained glass. But I love the options that are in the game now. They just keep adding more and more features. Like before 1.2 came out, because I don't think stained glass was in the game until 1.2. Our options were cobblestone walls, regular wooden fences, or iron bars. Or if we wanted to use like regular glass panes, we could use that, but I don't think they look as good. But this just opens up a huge variety of options for us to use. Like, this is not what stained glass would normally be used for, like a railing. It would be used for windows or something like that. But, even down to using it as particles for the power beam or using blue stained glass for icicles. Like, just the options are so vast now on what you can do with like different design elements. It's just awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's keep more of this coming, Mojang. Love, love, love all of the new features. And I'm super excited about Update Aquatic. That's going to be pretty cool as well. Lots of new stuff coming in that. But the reason why I've left that big chunk of stone in the middle, it is purely just there so we can use it as scaffolding when we get to the ceiling. That's it. There's no purpose for that to be there. We are going to get rid of it by the end of this episode, and by the time we're ready to start building the ceiling portion of this area, we are complete with our railing. There we go. By the time we get around to the ceiling portion of this, like most of that will already be dug out. There's only going to be one layer for us to stand on, and that way, we don't have to pillar up and pillar back down. That's a trick that I saw from several different YouTubers. I used to do ceilings like very last, kind of like I do now. I leave them for the last thing. But I would pillar up, I'd place down my blocks, I'd pillar back down, and I'd pillar up again, place down my blocks, and I'd pillar back down. And I never thought to leave like one layer of whatever terrain was there before intact. I never thought to do that until I saw a couple people do it on YouTube, and I'm like, why have I never thought of that before? It's such a genius idea. It's such a simple idea. Just leave some of the stuff behind so you can stand on it and build your ceiling and then carve the rest of it out. And then you don't have to worry about pillaring up and down. So I've done that for a while now. I've known about that trick for a couple of years, and I don't always use it, but we're definitely going to use that trick in this room to save us some time. So I'm going to put in the rest of this concrete. We are not going to use black stained glass on top of this like we did down below. The balcony is going to have its own kind of feel. It's going to be a little bit more sturdy looking than glassy looking because it is a balcony after all. We want to be kind of safe up here. But I'm going to finish putting all of this in, and then we will move on to the next thing together. Our question for today says, are you going to color the beacon? From General MCPE 93. That is a great question, and I don't think that I said anything about this in the last episode. So I'm going to give you guys a peek behind the curtains here just for a moment while we're working on the walls. Same walls as down below. They're not any different, so we're just going to chat some while we're working on these and answer this question. So am I going to color the beacon beam? In this room? No. It's going to stay white because I feel like that out of everything represents and pictures the idea of a electrical current, a power beam, more than any of the like colored stained glass affected beams that we could put on it. So in here, it's going to stay white. But here's the thing. You don't have to color the entire beam for it to be a particular color. You can subdivide it. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not, but when this beam keeps going up and up and up into the air, we could potentially do something with that. And I've got some pretty cool ideas for what we're going to do outside of this room with the beacon beam, because it is, as you saw in the last episode, it's just like shooting out of the side of the mountain. And that doesn't look super great because it's just like, okay, there's a white beacon beam shooting up in the air. And, the majority of YouTubers just kind of leave them as is because everybody understands that's part of the game. But we want this world to be even more immersive. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that beacon beam. When it exits the mountain, we're going to tint it a different color. And here's an idea. Here's where we can get some community feedback. And so this answers the question for General MCPE. Yes, we are going to tint the beacon beam a color, but once it exits the mountain, what color do you guys think that I should do that? And maybe I'll post a poll over on Twitter to see community feedback over there as well. I know not everybody is following me on Twitter, so if you don't have a Twitter, sign up for one. It's pretty easy. Or two, just leave in the comment section what color you think I should do the beacon beam. But what I'm thinking I will do with that, it's not just going to stay like a colored beacon beam flying through the air. we're going to build, if you've ever seen on Echo Base, on Hoth in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, on top of their mountain is a massive ion cannon. And I think that's what we're going to build. I've had that in mind as well since the beginning of this series, that the beacon beam was going to be partially the power beam, and then partially the part that was outside of the mountain was going to be a massive ion cannon. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that. Let me know what color you guys would like the laser beam coming out of the ion cannon to be, because I am definitely not like sold on any one color in particular. The only color that I would say not to choose is red, because I've got another idea for a red beacon beam for another project, which I'm going to save the information on that for now. I'm not gonna reveal that yet, but I'm thinking a red beacon beam somewhere else on the map is going to be pretty cool, and it'll come in due time. But so any color is on the table except for red, and I would say except for white as well. We don't want to leave it plain white. We want a stained glass colored beacon beam for the exterior of the mountain. So give me some feedback. Let me know what our ion cannon laser should be, what color it should be. That would be awesome. All right, all of our walls are done, and I've actually gone ahead and put together a basic layout of our ceiling, and it's not going to stay perfectly round like this. We are going to add the randomized standard Reverb Outpost snow ceiling that we've used for a lot of other projects. And again, this is the nature of a base like this. I want it to be uniform, but I want each room to have its own flavor. So there's a bit of uniqueness to it, but there's also a bit of standard design across the board. So things that will probably be similar in every build, the ceiling and potentially different variations of the same kind of wall. And I've had some feedback that maybe you guys would want me to add ice to these ceilings as well. I was kind of just thinking I would keep that reserved for the snow cave, because it is a little bit more of a wild, natural environment, and this is something that we've actually carved out and taken the time to build around on the inside of a mountain, and so maybe we could add some ice to this. Maybe we'll just leave it snow. I'm not sure. I'm still undecided on that. More community feedback today. Do you guys think I should add ice to the ceilings around the base? Maybe not all of them. Maybe just a few icicles here and there, because we are in a ice spikes biome and there are ice spikes on top of the mountain. So maybe it would make sense that some would leak down into the actual base itself. And I'm all out of snow, so I need to go grab some more. I'll be right back. Just a couple of more snow blocks to put in place, and I think we're done. This ceiling is looking pretty fantastic, if you ask me. I'm really happy with the design. Again, it's the standard thing that we've used throughout this series, but I'm loving it. I'm just still loving how this particular type of ceiling for this base just brings a whole new level of life to the builds. I just love it. But one thing that is not complete in this room that we're not going to finish up in this episode, because we still need to do the input chest for the auto smelter, which I knew we weren't going to get to today. That was just not possible with all of the resource gathering and so on. Is the actual beacon beam structure itself. It was halfway finished in the last episode, but because we've dug out more space above it, we've got some more building to do on that, and that's not going to get finished today. We're going to have to do that either in the next episode, or if we want to do another project to take a break in the next episode, I'll think about it, but I'm more inclined to maybe just finishing this build before moving on. And there you have it. That is so cool looking. I love this. This is easily becoming one of my favorite rooms, and I know I say that every time I get a new build, but this is so cool. This is exactly how I envisioned this room turning out. Let's climb up here into the balcony and take a look up here, and ignore all of these torches. We've got to get a lighting situation figured out, because since we are on stained glass on the floor down there, but we are on concrete up here. No lighting necessary down below, but lighting absolutely necessary up here. So we'll figure that out in another episode. Still some work left to do in here, but that's probably going to be about it for our building project today. I am running out of time, so we will save the rest of this for the next episode or one coming here soon. Haven't decided yet. And now it's time to add somebody else to our subscriber barracks, and today we are adding XAR Games. This person is always commenting in the comment section, so thank you for being so active. Glad that I could finally add you to the subscriber barracks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time that I've got for today, and I wanted to clarify, as we are ending this episode, the only reason why I am considering delaying finishing this build until maybe another episode or two down the road is because I do want to get a good amount of community feedback, and I'm not sure that I might start working on the next project before I see all of the comments from this particular video. So I do want to give consideration to what you guys want to see in this room, whether it's decoration or things that could be used practically in here. I want to hear your ideas. So I'm considering moving on to a different project just for the next episode so I can have time to get that feedback from you guys and, you know, put it into place. So please forgive me if we skip to another episode, another project, and have not finished this one, because I know I've been harping along about that. We're going to finish our projects. We're going to get them done, but I do want to get that feedback from you guys. So hope you enjoyed today's episode, but for now, my name is BluJay, and I've got to fly on out of here. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.